Greetings, brethren. It is in fact I, the donkey of House Habsburg. Let me actually get some of this stuff out of the way. I have been stripping miniatures, that's why all this crap is here. And, pretty sure that's a box of rocks. Alright, much better. So, you know how much I despise editing videos. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna give you a little series of videos that I'll put in a playlist, because it's either that or you get a one video when it's finished. And I thought you might want to see the process, which is currently I am building some more terrain, namely some hills. And I thought it would be sort of interesting to show my method of doing that. So as always with terrain, I start out with this 2 to 2.5 millimeters. I'm not sure which one this is. I think it's 2 millimeter plastic card. Just big old sheets of that I buy from hobby supply stores, DIY stores. You can get them in all sorts of places. The leftovers usually I cut into smaller pieces and they go into my box of wonders again, because you can do all sorts of stuff with the small offcuts. But yeah, I cut hill shapes out of the plastic card and clean that up nicely, and then I use that on just a piece of styrofoam. And this is something I like to do, is when I build terrain, I like to use, at least in some parts, scrap. This was a big sheet of styrofoam that came with a TV or a washing machine or something like that. I always have my loved ones, they are basically advised to let me know when they have stuff like this, so that I can look over it and see if maybe I can make use of it. So I'm not entirely sure what this was, because I got it from someone else. I think it was, maybe it was a TV, who knows. But it was a nice big sheet of styrofoam, about 2 centimeters thick. And I used the hill shapes to, you can still see it here, to draw on the shape onto the styrofoam, 2 pieces per hill. And then I cut them out roughly. It doesn't have to be exact on the first cut, because there's going to be more cutting later. And then I glued the plastic card piece on one layer of the foam, and then glued the other layer of foam onto the first layer of foam. And I did that with PVA glue. Once you have that sort of glued on, you definitely need to let this dry for at least a day. I'm probably going to let it dry for 2 days, just to make sure, because the PVA glue that's on the inside here, that's going to take a very long time to properly cure. The outside is going to be cured after a day easily, but the inside takes longer. So I don't want to do immediately put too much stress on it, because it could actually tear off if you do it too quickly. So 1 to 2 days, and I'm gonna do two days just to be sure. And I did a bunch of these. So as you can see, I have a total of 5 big hills. And actually very interesting, these two. Let me push these all the way. So yeah, so there's a total of 5 big hills, and you can see some of them have sort of damage from the where the styrofoam was like pressed against something. This one has a fold running through it, but that really doesn't matter, because in the process of making these hills, we'll be treating them a lot. So you'll see, it doesn't really matter. There's some damage here as well. In the end, it won't matter. All right, so this is just the first step, is cutting them out, 2 layers of styrofoam to each plastic card for the big hills, just so they have some height. And then I also made some smaller ones, which only have 1 layer of foam. They do still have the plastic card bottom, just to make them nice and sturdy. And these small ones can either go directly on the table, or they can go as sort of a topper on one of the larger hills. All right, so this should be very very familiar to people who used to play Games Workshop games around 2000, because this sort of small hill on top of a big hill is something, yeah, that was very Games Workshop-y at the time. And I have 4 of these small one sheet thickness hills. All right, and yeah, once these are dry, so probably tomorrow, I'll let me actually show you on one of these smaller ones. I will show this in detail when the curing is done tomorrow, but just to give you an idea, I then use a carpet. I don't even know what you call them in English. A retractable knife, a carpenter's knife. I don't know. Not a carpenter, but like a carpet person's knife. I don't know. They're carpet knives in German. So yeah. Anyway, and then what you do is you very carefully cut them to the actual sort of shape of the base. Right. So we want to have the base and the foam line up like so. So very carefully going around and not taking them off at too much of an angle, as straight as possible, and just take off all of the extra foam. In some places it'll be a bit harder because there'll be PVA glue that's squeezed out and you have to sort of cut through that as well. So yeah, and that'll be the process for the whole set of hills. We just cut it to the edge of the plastic card base. Plastic card isn't necessary. You can definitely do that. Do this with a thick cardboard as well, but cardboard has the downside that it might warp. Plastic card, if it's 2 or 2.5 millimeters thick, will not warp. At least not in when you have something that's also sturdy, like styrofoam, glued to the top of it. If you just have the card, sometimes it does a bit of warping, but yeah, in something like this, it won't warp. All right, and then in the next video, I'll show you, well, I'll have most of these hills already cut this way, and then I'll show you the next steps. All right, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.